Hello there. My name is Tom Wolf. I'm a research assistant professor and part of the Network Canvas team at Northwestern University. And today I'll be walking you through how to deploy a Network Canvas instrument using our new online Fresco tool. Now, unlike Network Canvas Interviewer, which users install and deploy on a computer or a tablet, Fresco is a web application that researchers and participants can access from all over the world via a web browser. But for this to work, we first need to deploy Fresco on a web server in order for other people to access it. This means that setting up Fresco is a bit trickier than setting up Interviewer, but a lot of folks are going to find the greater accessibility worth the cost. Before we begin, another trade-off to consider is that when you use Fresco, you're ultimately the one responsible for the security and maintenance of the Fresco instrument on a server. While members of the Network Canvas team and other community members might be able to help you on our help forums, we ultimately had no way of accessing your data or server infrastructure if you get in a bind. But having said all that, let's get started. Now we're going to be using a few different services and technologies to get Fresco off the ground. First, we're going to be using GitHub, which is a standard platform for hosting and sharing code. Most of the code underlying Fresco is hosted on GitHub, so you're going to want to create a free GitHub account to access it if you don't already have one. We're also going to be using PostgreSQL, which is an open source relational database system. For most people, all you really need to know is that we use PostgreSQL to store data about your study, participants, and responses. Most of the PostgreSQL setup is going to be taken care of by another service we're using called Vercel, but more on that in a bit. UploadThing is a cloud-based file storage service, and we're going to be using this to store certain parts of your Network Canvas protocol, such as media files. Like I said before, Fresco's been designed to be deployed using Vercel, which is a cloud platform that specializes in deploying web applications. It's relatively easy to use and has a generous free tier that's suitable for most research projects, so we think it's a good fit for Network Canvas users. Now, in theory, you don't have to use Vercel to deploy Fresco, but we're going to focus on using Vercel in this tutorial because we think it's really the simplest way to go. So let's get started with the deployment process. The first thing we're going to want to do is create our own copy of Fresco, what we'll call an instance, on GitHub. Log into GitHub if you haven't already, and then visit the GitHub repository containing the Fresco code. You can find the repository at github.com/complexdatacollective/Fresco with a capital F, and a link to the repository can be found in the deployment documentation on the Network Canvas website. Once we've reached the repository, we're going to create a copy or fork of it for our own use. Go ahead and click the fork button, which will take you to the next page. Enter a repository in the first text box, which will be the name of your Fresco instance. It probably makes sense to give it a name related to your research project, but here I'm just going to call it Fresco. Add a description if you want. Make sure you leave the copy the main branch only option selected, and click the Create Fork button at the bottom when you're ready to move forward. Once you've done this, GitHub should take you to the landing page of your newly forked repository, like this. The copy of the Fresco code you see here is now yours, and you're free to modify and deploy it however you want. Our next step is going to be using Vercel to create the PostgreSQL database needed to store our study data. Visit the Vercel website and click Sign in with GitHub to log in. You'll be redirected to the Vercel dashboard. From the dashboard, select Storage from the top navigation bar. Once you get there, click the Create Database button on the right side of the page. Doing this will give you a bunch of storage options to choose from, which can be confusing for anyone new to the process. Luckily, all we need to do is select Neon from the list of marketplace database providers and click Continue. This will take us to a new page. We'll need to choose a region for our database. Go ahead and just choose a region nearest to you, don't complicate things. And then click Continue. We'll now be asked to give our database a name, which I guess I'll call Fresco Demo, and then we'll scroll down and click Create. Now our database is being generated. Once we've generated our database, we'll see an overview page. While it looks like there might be a lot to explore and go over here, all you really need to be concerned about are the environment variables you see right here under the Quick Start and End local headings. When you have the environment variables in front of you, go ahead and click the Copy Snippet button on the right side of the page, then open a blank text file and paste the variables in it. Save the text file so we can use it later. Moving ahead, we're now ready to deploy our forked version of Fresco on Vercel. In your browser, go ahead and visit vercel.com/new and sign in with GitHub again if you logged out at some point earlier. On the left side of this page, you'll see a list of the GitHub repositories associated with your GitHub account. Find the one associated with your fork of Fresco and click the import button next to it. This is going to take you to a new page where you'll configure your deployment. Remember the text file we just created? Go ahead and pull that up and copy all the text in it into your clipboard. Once you've done that, find the drop-down section on this page entitled Environment Variables. There it is. Click it to view more. Now click one of the empty example name text boxes and hit paste. The Vercel page will automatically parse your pasted text to format it in the way needed for your deployment. If you have any empty text boxes remaining at the top of the environment variables section, go ahead and remove them. When you're done with this, scroll down and click the deploy button. Hitting the deploy button starts the deployment process at the bottom of the page, and you can monitor the progress of deployment here. The deployment process takes a few minutes, so go ahead and give yourself a break. Finally, our Fresco instance is now built. When we scroll down, we see a few options for next steps. If you have a custom domain you want to associate with your Fresco project, you can add it at this point, but we're going to skip this for now. Instead, let's click the Continue to Dashboard button. This takes us to a new page called Production Deployment, and from here, we're going to click the Visit button on the top right. Now we're ready to configure our Fresco deployment. To use Fresco, you'll need to set up an administrator account, which will allow you to access the protected parts of the app related to data and study management. Only one admin account can be created, and you have 2 hours from the time of deployment to create it. So go ahead and make yourself a username, and then go ahead and create a password. You're going to need to type it twice, so bear that in mind. I'm typing it a second time here, and then click Create Account. Now make sure you remember your password though. If you have a feature that saves it, I don't do it here, but you may want to save it here. If you forget your password, you won't be able to reset it after you first create it. If you remember the Upload Thing service I mentioned earlier, this is where it comes in. Go to uploadthing.com, click Get Started for free, and sign in with your GitHub account. Once you're logged in and at the landing page, click Create a New App at the top right. Give your app a new name. Here I put Fresco Demo. Choose a price plan. Free will work for most Fresco projects. And then click Create App at the bottom of the page. When you reach the next page, find API keys on the left side and click it. Find the section heading with Quick Copy and copy the env local bit of code to your clipboard using the copy button. Now go back to your Fresco configuration and paste this bit of code where it asks for an Upload Thing token. Then hit Save and Continue. Now we can upload an actual network canvas protocol file as we created it in Architect. Click the Import Protocols button and select the protocols you want to add to Fresco. It'll take a bit of time to upload the file. Hit Continue once your file's been uploaded. We're almost there. This screen allows us to change settings related to how study participants can access your Fresco deployment. If you have a specific roster of participants who should be accessing your Fresco instrument, you can upload a CSV file containing their information. Participants can also be uploaded from the Participants page once you've completed setup. You can also enable anonymous recruitment, where anyone can complete your Network Canvas survey as long as they have a URL to access it. Additionally, you can select a setting that prevents participants from completing your survey multiple times. Once you've selected your desired settings here, click Continue. This last page here refers you back to the Network Canvas website for additional documentation should you need it. We should be good for now, so let's click Go to the dashboard and finish up. And there you have it. You've successfully deployed an online Network Canvas instrument using Fresco. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video helps you get your network data collection off the ground.